So yeah, Movie Magic used to be a show that I think was syndicated throughout the land here and everything. And before the days of Blu-ray, before the days of all that kind of stuff and YouTube to find out all the behind the scenes about special effects and everything, you had to turn on the television, man. You had to turn on the TV and check out a little show called Movie Magic. And it's a show that I bring up to people a lot of times, but it seems like not a ton of people have seen it and everything, which is a little bit disturbing to me. So I figure, hey, man, let's see if we can jog a couple of memories loose here and everything and check out an episode of Movie Magic. This one is entitled Special Makeup. Since the dawn of cinema, people have been putting on makeup.
For over half a century,
See?
Children have been captivated by movie monsters. These horrific characters have haunted many young nightmares. Today's movie fans are equally enthralled by cinematic monsters and by the makeup effects wizards who bring these creatures to life.
Every day is a bad hair day.
With inventive use of new materials and mechanics, these artists and technicians are creating characters that are increasingly more frightening and bizarre.
These were the days where, like, you couldn't see this stuff, man. Like, the only time that you would see this kind of behind-the-scenes material and everything would be in, like, a copy of Starlog or Fangoria or Famous Monsters of Filmland or something like that. You'd see that sort of stuff then. You never really saw it in live action and stuff. So, like, at least for me as a kid, this was, like, prime time.
Rolling.
Today, we'll go behind the mask with the comedy adventure Cabin Boy to see how flesh...
Oh, boy. At least he didn't say something like Cabin Boy, of which we are absolutely positively sure is going to be a box office success.
And blood actors are transformed into make-believe beings.
Cut.
And Academy Award-winning makeup artist Rick Baker revealed...
Holy cow. For a half a second, I was like, this looks like Rick Baker, but then I was like, no, that can't be. And then it is him. I guess it's the lack of beard. That's what it is. I was like, why can I not recognize Rick Baker? Lack of beard.
Reveals the secrets of famous movie monsters. Welcome to the highly inventive field of special makeup effects, where you'll meet creature and creator on Movie Magic.
You ever just have those shows? I know you do, because Marty just mentioned it in the chat. Like those shows where, like, you hear that, you just like hear the intro and stuff, and it gets you pumped. You're just like, dude. Yeah, I know you have it with, you know, how it's made and stuff like that. When you hear the bang, 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 when that comes in, oh, you get pumped. Movie Magic.
The function of makeup has remained constant throughout history, to assist an actor in the creation of a character. Makeup effects include everything from the addition of a cut, burn, or scar, to the transformation of a man into an unrecognizable form.
Couldn't show this on television today.
When a script calls for an alien to live among Earthmen, or dead men to walk amongst the living, the makeup effects artists are called to center stage. For the fantasy comedy film Cabin Boy,
which we're sure is going to be #1 at the box office the week that it opens. Cabin Boy, go see it now.
Producers Tim Burton, Denise Denovi, and director Adam Resnick must create a world populated with strange characters.
But Tim Burton's already on set. Thank you.
Cabin Boy tells the story of a young man who travels the high seas with a group of crusty old fishermen.
But then again, we just told you that Tim Burton's there.
On their voyage at sea, There are a lot of episodes where they meet some very amazing characters. He meets
She sounds like she really believes that. An amazing characters. They're
underneath
awesome.
the water named Chalky, played by Russ Tamblyn. And the masthead on the ship, played by Ricky Lake, actually comes to life. And
Ricky Lake was in that film?
he learns the ways of love from Callie, played by Ann Magnuson, who lives on an island.
This was in Cabin Boy. Maybe we have judged Cabin Boy wrong.
And has 8 arms or 10 arms. A lot of arms.
I don't know. There are arms up in there. Who's to say?
I wanted something that was very stylized.
Here's what I'm curious about. And it's something that I never noticed with this show. Did we just take a Japanese show and add on our own stuff? Like our own narrator and all that kind of stuff? Is that what we did here? Because that's what it seems like. Because every time we look, there's more, Japanese. I'm going to assume that those are, little super chyrons there that'll say like their name and, like where they're at or what they're working on or whatnot. Huh. Mm-hmm.
And a little bit older looking. Tony had some good ideas, and he was completely in sync with what I wanted to do.
Innovative makeup effects artist Tony Gardner has established a reputation for creating fantastic, sometimes frightening characters.
Sometimes shitty. We don't know.
For such films as Hocus Pocus, Army of Darkness, and Darkman.
Look at Marty over here. He already called the Darkman, like 4 or 5 minutes ago. Calling it a Darkman out. Look at him. He also says that we used to have a movie show, back in the thing that was called Film 87 or whatever year that was. Hell yeah.
Gardner's Alterian Studios is a 10,000 square foot makeup effects lab. This facility specializes in all aspects of makeup effects, from character makeup to animatronic figures and puppets.
We seem to excel at getting the shows with major technical challenges. But I think we excel at characters and finding a balance and bringing enough fantasy into reality to the point where you buy it as a character as opposed to just, this is a makeup effect. We're able to create whole characters out of what we do.
Once the character...
We've decided to give them personalities instead of allowing them to only be ghouls.
Designs are approved, the effects team makes life casts of all the actors playing the various characters. Russ Tamblyn will have his body cast for a sharkskin suit.
Baby
and Ricky Lake will
shark,
have her head and body cast to play the wooden figurehead.
Ricky, you're a bit of a wooden head. We're going to allow you to come on in.
Designer Eric Fiedler will make a cast of this actor's head so that the makeup can be sculpted onto the exact shape of the actor's.
Eric is not wearing a fake mustache trying to get away from creditors. We promise.
Face.
He's going to be one of the clouds, or the cloud character. So we're going to make a live cast of his head and going to sculpt the cloud features onto his face and around his face.
I bet he really wishes that he would have tanned before this.
That's the face
I didn't know I was going to be on television, dog.
Cloud. That's what will be going on. So we're going to sculpt all that, make it out of foam, and then put a little headgear on, kind of like a Las Vegas showgirl. Have a headdress on, and the makeup will be out there, and his face will be blended into it. Putting a ball cap on him.
But for real, though, we're going to make him into a showgirl.
To protect his hairs from the material we do the live casting with.
A layer of Vaseline.
There's part of me that would always kind of think like, oh, I think I would be fine if they put me in one of these head cast things. I don't think I'd be one of the people that would freak out, but I don't know that I wouldn't freak out. I think it's weird with the little straws coming out the nose.
Is applied to the eyebrows and around the cap to prevent the casting material from sticking. Next, Eric mixes up a batch of alginate.
Alginate
This was also a show that kind of demystified some of the special effects and stuff like that, and it made you feel like you could do it at home. Now, we didn't have the internet to where we could just, summon up these ingredients and whatnot, but it did make you feel that, like, if you had access to that stuff, you might be able to do it. So, I don't know. It always kind of felt like hey, you can do this. This stuff's possible.
That's the same stuff the dentist puts in your mouth when he wants to take an impression of your teeth. Made out of kelp.
That's filthy.
Relax. How's that? It's actually good, huh? Nice warm day like today. Close your eyes. All smooths right out. It's amazing stuff. Takes great detail.
Now get his wallet.
That's This takes about 5 minutes.
Oh, that's not that bad. I thought it was like 30. I was like, man, if you got to sit there for like 30 minutes with all the goop on you, that's a turd.
You can get the whole thing done in about 14 and a half minutes.
A wrapping of plaster bandages provides support for the alginate cast.
And also makes you feel like the Invisible Man.
Now I'm putting on the dividing line of the hard matrix or the plaster bandage. So we do a front half and a back half.
It's about this portion that they really start freaking out.
As this stuff starts to go off, it starts to heat up. So we tell the talent, don't worry, it's gonna get warm. It's like a relaxing.
Don't worry, the burning sensation is normal. It's cool. Don't worry, stop panicking. Why are you panicking?
Facial sun.
After about 4 minutes, the plaster has hardened and the two halves can be removed.
If the knife goes too far, let me know. Ow, got it. Too far.
And Tom will lean forward and his ears will fold under. And he'll catch it. He's got a problem. You have to kind of work it off here a little.
It's like he's being birthed. Watch it.
There it comes. Go ahead and pull. You slip it in there. Pull straight on. There you go. And
Jeremy died that day.
Okay. Once the negative of Tom's head is finished, the next step is to fill the mold which will form the life cast.
See, this is stupid. You could have just used Tom's body and filled it up with gack right there. I don't know why you're going through the extra step. Just use the husk of his cadaver.
This is Ultracal. It's a very hard type of plaster. There's 3 parts of this. There's this is called a face coat, splash coat, also it's called. Then after that is the hemp coat. We add hemp or sisal fiber, which is
anything these guys can do to get drugs. Am I right?
A material that we use to give it strength. It's like straw. Also helps it to make it lighter. And then we put a finish coat on there, making it nice and smooth. Molds in minutes.
This was his favorite day to be at work. He was so stoked. He's like, listen, baby. The stash is freshly dyed. I got a friggin' vest. We are unbuttoning it to here. It's going down.
This will set for 30 minutes. It'll start to heat up. That'll make it harden up. That's it. We'll pop it. Now it's time for the moment of truth.
Oh my God, it's hideous. Now kiss it.
A perfect likeness. This life cast will be the foundation for a sculpture that will put the actor on cloud 9.
Oh, you shouldn't have let him do it if you knew if this was going to be the outcome. This is what that led to? You're not becoming the Predator or something? You're becoming Moonface? Vaguely racist even?
Open your eyes, look up.
Pardon me, sir, but I'm going to blow
And
the
after
wind
a quick
into your
touch-up,
direction.
the Cloud Man is set to breeze through his scenes.
In his Big Johnson t-shirt and shorts.
Okay, lean back and blow. That's perfect. Yeah.
He looks so depressed. He's like, God, this isn't making the movie, I hope.
That was nice. That was really nice.
Good.
Oh, that shock.
For many movie fans, Lon Chaney was the master of screen horror. Known as the man with 1,000 faces, Chaney was a genius in the art of makeup. His 1923 version of The Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of the most...
It's called Notre Dame. Get it right or get out, buddy.
...extraordinary characters ever created for motion pictures.
He had this wonderful ability that no matter how horrific...
I'm telling you right now, this is a Japanese show that we just converted. We just bought it. We just bought it and slapped our stuff on it. I'm telling you.
...or how repulsive his character could be, he could get the audience's sympathy. People like to believe the extraordinary. People like to think for the Hunchback he wore 70...
Okay, I'm going to say some wild stuff right here. Strap in. I'm not normally a component, or I'm not normally a proponent, rather, of all the quote-unquote AI stuff that's going on. That said, I wonder what AI could do to kind of clean up some of these, early films, these early ones that, like, you have so little access to anything. I don't know. Just to kind of clear them up a little bit. I mean, listen, I'm not saying that you got to replace, everything and just whatever, but throw them through one of those things. Let's see what happens. I'd be curious.
20-pound rubber hump. In actuality, it was 20
What hump?
pounds, and it was made out of plaster of Paris.
The Phantom of the Opera, made in 1925, is one of Chaney's most admired films. He plays Eric, the disfigured mad organist who haunts the Paris Opera House.
I always wondered what it would have been like to be like in the theater when this reveal happens. What was that like? Was everybody like, holy shit? Or were they just like, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's a cool makeup job, but for certainly for the time and everything, but were they super blown away, or I don't know. It feels like we're supposed to be jumping out of our skin, I'll tell you that much.
When Chaney read the Gaston Leroux novel, it described Eric's face as that of a skull with the flesh wasted away.
He would glue spirit gum, which was an adhesive, on his nose, and then he'd place a little strip of fish skin, which is a thin, transparent piece of skin that comes from the stomach lining of fish, and he'd pull the nose up to the way he wanted it, and then ran the rest of the piece of fish skin up into the forehead, painting it down with spirit gum, and that's how he accomplished the up-tilting of the nose.
Gross.
Because his elaborate makeup removed all acting subtleties, Chaney had to employ his body to eloquent effect.
I will say that's one of the cool things of today is that we definitely have gotten makeup to the point where you can still kind of move your face and everything. They've compartmentalized a lot of stuff. I thought that's always been kind of very smart of how they've evolved makeup over the years.
Chaney's famous makeup box was the forerunner of the makeup departments of the major studios. By the 1930s, these makeup departments were operating as daytime glamour factories.
Pardon me, I've got to go down to the glamour factory.
But at night, in Universal's makeup lab, artist Jack Pierce worked with Boris Karloff,
legend,
perfecting the face that would influence future generations of makeup artists.
My first introduction to Frankenstein's monster actually was in a monster.
See, they don't even look like the same guy. Beard, no beard. Look at the difference. That's not the same person, man. Come on now.
Makeup artists.
My first introduction to Frankenstein's monster actually was in a monster magazine. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how you could make someone's head square.
A two-time Oscar winner for his extraordinary work on An American Werewolf in London and Harry and...
Still the best werewolf transformation of all time. Anybody can fight me on that one. I'd love you to tell me otherwise.
The Hendersons. Rick Baker's special effects makeups are inspired by his early fascination with classic movie monsters.
Early on, I thought it was Boris Karloff that did his own makeup, until I read in Famous Monsters of Filmland that this guy by the name of Jack Pierce did the makeup. From the research that I've done and knowing what makeup techniques were at the time, I believe most of it was done with a buildup of cotton and collodion. Collodion is this kind of liquid plastic type material.
Frankenstein's monster been doing them whippets. Your boy is zonked.
I really pity poor Boris, who had to go through this makeup every day. First day, I think he put some spirit gum on his brow, stuck some cotton onto it, painted on a layer of this collodion, put a little bit more cotton, a little more collodion. So it was laboriously building up layer at a time to create this brow. But it took hours to do. I've read 8 hours, I've read 6 hours. I couldn't believe either one of them. It's a long process. And to be sitting in a makeup chair that long, to have some joker painting, plastic on your...
Here's the thing, man, is that, like, the biggest difference is that, like, it just made it, dude. If that makeup wasn't as good as it was in Frankenstein, you would absolutely think this was garbage. But the makeup, it makes it feel like it's unreal, that it's, inhuman.
Your face is...
I've obviously never seen Werewolf Fighter. I most assuredly have, and I will tell I won't even call him a director. I'm gonna call him an auteur. I will tell its auteur to its face doesn't make the Mount Rushmore of werewolf transformation films. I'm willing to say it.
Isn't really a lot of fun. I spoke to some older makeup artists that knew Jack Pierce, and they said that Boris, on occasion, would actually wear the makeup home rather than going through the laborious procedure the next day. He actually would.
I think old Rick Baker likes laborious. I think that may be on his that was on his word-a-day calendar.
Go home, sleep, between a couple of books and try not to roll around on his face, and then come in the morning, and then Jack would have to do a certain amount of repair to the makeup. But
Jack also looks like a guy that would definitely
roll around on his face, and then come in the morning, and then.
Doesn't that look like that guy would be pissed off while he's cutting your hair? Sit in the chair, you little piece of crap.
Jack would have to do a certain amount of repair to the makeup, but it was less work than starting the whole process again. At a very early age, I was fascinated by monsters. I would watch monster movies on TV whenever they would come on, and just decided that would be a really cool thing to do, is make them.
I'll say this, if you haven't seen it, Rick Baker's, I believe it's called, is it Monsterworks, something like that. His entire, he's got a big 2-volume set of books that go through his entire career and everything. They're expensive as all balls, but boy, oh boy, if you are a Rick Baker and special effects makeup fan, cannot highly recommend those enough.
Make a monster.
At age 18, Rick Baker became the protege of Dick Smith, the creator of the unforgettable makeup effects in such landmark films as Amadeus, Little Big Man, and The Exorcist.
Of course.
With Dick's encouragement,
man, old Dick Smith just he kind of laid the track for everybody, man. And you get into your Rick Bakers and your Tom Savinis and whatnot from there. So Dick Smith was like the guy.
Rick honed his skills and then went on to train a new generation of makeup artists, including Tony Gardner.
With Rick, I had the opportunity to do a lot. I came in as the runner, and you sweep the floors, take out the trash, that kind of stuff. And as you show you can handle more responsibility, you were given more.
In 1988, Tony Gardner formed Alterian Studios to continue the tradition of makeup effects pioneered by Lon Chaney.
Terminator is an insect.
But the materials and techniques have constantly improved. Foam rubber, first developed in 1939, allows artists to form-fit makeup to the actor's face. This foam appliance is detailed enough to look realistic in close-ups, and at the same time, eliminate the mounds of putties and cotton used by Jack Pierce.
Yeah, but let's be honest though, those things, each one of these things has their pros and their cons, their advantageous and disadvantageous things. So, catch as catch can.
Pierce to build up Boris Karloff's facial features. Even though methods have improved, the makeup effects for Cabin Boy are as labor-intensive as any previous.
We're back at Cabin Boy again. They're like, listen, we visited the set of Cabin Boy. We got all this footage. We got to use it.
Created. In order to create new facial and body features, artists use plastine clay to sculpt
You missed it before that guy was just kind of feeling all up on him. You know he was.
Character pieces onto the actor's life cast. These character pieces are called appliances. For Ricky Lake's
This one's a refrigerator.
figurehead character,
Speaking of
Tony
which-
works with sculptor Mike Smithson. The design of the figurehead was modeled after those crafted for old English sailing ships. Careful detailing creates a weathered wood effect with a deep grain pattern. Once the design is sculpted, a mold is made of the clay appliance. This process is similar to that used for the life cast. After the plaster dries, the mold is separated.
I mean, I'll say this much. At least, I mean, I understand why they don't want to do all this crap these days because it looks like an assload of work. But at the same time, too, it's like you are kind of losing something. You got to admit that.
Separated from the life cast. The clay is removed, and the cavity that remains is ready to be injected with foam latex. After the molds are cleaned, foam technician John Calpin prepares the foam latex.
Does he go home and tell his mom that his job is foam technician? Or does he make something else up? I'm a lawyer. He's a foam technician. Don't let him tell you otherwise.
I'm getting ready to measure out some foam latex and whip it up, and then we'll inject it. Oh.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and make a mask on you.
Almost like baking bread. We just pour everything into a gigantic bowl and whip it up in a mixer. When you whip it higher, you whip more air into it. Makes it a softer foam. The less you whip it, the more dense it becomes.
You're supposed to whip it good. You know that, right? Can you do that again? It was embarrassing. I didn't get it off of the thing right. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. I should have done this.
The foam is injected into the appliance mold until it begins to seep out of small channels.
Gross.
When the channels are filled, the appliance should be free of any voids. The mold is baked in an oven for about 5 hours at 350 degrees.
Afterwards, it can be served to four to six guests.
Once the appliance is removed from its mold, it is cleaned of excess latex and primed for painting.
Unfortunately, it's still Ricky Lake.
The foam rubber looks and feels like human skin. These appliances even have pores that allow the actors to perspire through the appliances rather than underneath them.
Is that true?
Finally, after weeks of preparation, the character pieces are ready to be attached to the actors. Actress
handhead.
Ricky Lake arrives several hours before the rest of the crew for her makeup application.
Can I say this? Can I say this? Ricky Lake looks pretty good for her age these days. You seen her? She's aged really, really well. Good for her. Some of these cats, not so much. I mean, compared to like, your, another talk show host of Rosie O'Donnell, aging. Yeesh. Ricky Lake, though, looking good.
A medical adhesive called Prozaid is brushed onto the actress's face.
What's that?
It's boric acid.
Is that going to eat my face off? God, I hope not.
So you can get a
Clearasil.
wood texture.
Oh, that's so it sticks, right?
Listen, you.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, that's so it sticks, right?
This guy hit it on so many of these ladies. I can tell you right now, Mr. Makeup Man up here. Look at this dude. That ponytail, you know.
Listen, you.
The
Listen,
nose
you.
is glued first. Then the cheeks. As the mask is glued to Ricky's face, it becomes a second skin.
She will not be able to get it off for months.
When am I going to be able to move my face?
You can move right now if you want.
Feels restricted.
Oh, it'll work in.
The most important
Lot of dudes
work
with
is the
ponytails
blending
at
of
this
the
time, I
edges of
guess.
the makeup with the actress's skin. The seams must be perfect to avoid detection.
Scared me.
I'm sorry.
Now put on your plastic hair. Excellent.
I'm just kind of building ridges over the blending edge so it kind of looks like the wood grain. It kind of helps blend into her skin.
It definitely helps looking differently and taking on a different appearance. Definitely helps when you're creating a character, especially one like this.
Especially one that's wooden.
And they kept telling me when I was off the part, they said, there's a lot of special effects makeup involved. It is unbelievable the process that goes on before you do, one day.
And then we can actually do a little more of the style at the time was a little like two.
Which was the style at the time?
Rounds.
Oh, I got you.
There was a
kind of like that Veronica Lake thing.
Yeah, there's
No. Her name's Ricky Lake. God, some of these people, man. I hope he doesn't get another job after this.
After final touches, the actress is ready for her scenes. The camera.
She's just on the front of the boat. That's it.
Ricky's position is uncomfortable, and she will tire quickly.
Because she's lazy.
Action!
Ooh.
Ricky.
Huh? Oh, action. You said action. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention.
Great, okay.
It makes a good point, though, because today this would all be CGI garbage crap and because you wouldn't. Why would you? Why would you go through all the extra effort to do all of that? Is it going to be that much better than what CGI was? I don't know.
Great, Ricky, okay.
After Ricky works through a full day of shooting, Tony Gardner and his crew must then remove the actress's makeup. When the makeup effects are as elaborate as the figurehead character, this process can take several additional hours.
She got to do like Karloff and be sleeping in it.
But for the Alterian team, the figurehead is only one of several characters they are responsible for.
Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Actor Russ Tamlin is being made up with another foam latex appliance to create his Sharkman character.
Sharkman.
Brian Pennicus has been given this task.
This is a surgical adhesive that Dow Corning makes.
Does the shark often wear jeans?
Since the dawn of theater, actors have used color to create character makeup. And now, color
This is just a shark.
is the final step in creating these makeup effects. The basic foam appliance has texture, but needs color and shading to complete the illusion.
For the makeup colors, we use a standard palette, but that offers 6 or 7 blues and a black and a white. Well, Brian did a test paint job on the little Russ Tamlin to determine the patterns and the basic color.
We call him Little Russ.
And we'll gradually work our way from this prosthetic adhesive paint to regular makeup as we work our way.
Poor Russ. What happens if he's got to take a dump right now? Got a big old shark fin on his back and everything. You can't go into a regular stall like that.
Forward over the body.
Now I have to go in and break up all the
I'm thinking about it for his sake, all right?
flatness of the gray.
I care about the actor.
And we've got to break up the edge here so that it dissolves more into his own skin.
Once you get all this gear on and start looking at yourself in the mirror, it's such inspiration. I got a fin on my back.
Gives me all the inspiration I need. I want to go down to a local park and screw with kids. I want to jump in and just start going dun 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 dun. I'll be underwater and they can't hear me, but you know what? It'll feel good to me on the inside.
You know, a lot of times people, you say, oh, I was in that film, and they'll say, oh, who were you in it? And you have to kind of explain, well, I was the guy, or the lawyer, or the this, or the that. See, I was the shark. Make this.
He looks like he could be the third Howard brother, doesn't he? Clint Howard and this guy.
Just kind of stands out. Do I look normal again? I mean, you know, who would think? I'm just a normal, average actor with
Going down to shoot a pornography set.
a robe.
I had a shark thing in the back the whole time. Aren't we clever?
Finally, Russ is ready for the camera. In this scene, the cabin boy has been thrown overboard, and he sinks to the bottom of the ocean. The shark man swims to the rescue before the cabin boy drowns.
I approach the makeup effects more as characters as opposed to just a makeup effect. You have to figure out the character and how to make the character work.
The continuing demand for new characters and greater realism presents makeup artists with challenging problems.
Not today, it doesn't. Today, it just makes them go like, oh, shit, just throw that in the computer. It'll be fine.
They respond with confidence by inventing new techniques and materials and creative ways of using them.
It's almost like presenting a magic trick. It's what's all the dressing that fits around the actual effect itself to make it work and make you believe what you're seeing.
The credit belongs to makeup artists with talent.
I told you one of these cats would just be on it. Come on.
And technology, who create memorable screen characters that could never have existed without movie magic.
Movie magic. Oh, man, I tell you what, this was a show I absolutely loved back in the day. It was so much fun. Yeah, I think I might do a couple of more of these. Not today, obviously, but as time goes on and everything. So that's Movie Magic. A lot of those available on YouTube, so check them out.